for staying with us. We're still covering for you and monitoring all of what is happening, the activities right here in Ondo State, as we look forward to the very last few hours to the governorship election of Saturday, the 16th day of November 2024. I'm being joined by the DIG, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, who is in charge of election security for the governorship election. DIG Abiodun Alabi is live for us here. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. I don't know why I keep calling you Tokwe Alabi. I think Tokwe Alabi is a more popular name than Abiodun Alabi, but but you don't sing, do you?
I don't know.
Thank you so much, DIG, for joining us. How secured are things ahead of tomorrow's election?
Perfectly. Everything is secured. We put in place a lot of security measures to assure members of the public, the voters, that the election will take place under a very conducive and peaceful atmosphere. And in line with our operation order, our officers have been deployed to various local governments, all the 18 local governments, being manned by a commissioner of police each. All the local governments are being manned by a commissioner of police each.
All the local governments?
Yes.
So you have 18
local governments, 18
CPs.
commissioner of police in charge of all the 18 local governments.
Wow, that's how serious this election is.
Yes, because we don't want to take chances. We don't want to take anything for granted. Because this is an obstacle election, so we have the manpower to deploy very well, so that at the end of the day, we will be able to tell Nigerians that we can actually conduct a very peaceful election without any problem. Because there's a need for us to dominate the security space. So we actually deployed all our officers to all the local governments, even the wards, and by tomorrow, all the 3,933 polling units will be well covered.
So how many men do you have presently?
We have about
the total number.
We have about 34,000 police officers.
On the ground?
Yeah, on the ground.
And aside Canaan, or including Canaan?
No, including all the tactical units and the Canine and
including the area surveillance team?
All.
The ones that are going to be on the water?
Yes, the Marine Police.
The Marine Police?
Yes,
all of them?
All.
There are 30?
About 34,000.
About 34,000. Yes. That's massive.
Yes.
Is it looking like the election is over policed?
Not really. We are just trying to ensure that we don't take chances, we don't take things for granted. We just want to dominate the security space, to let people know that we cannot allow anybody to truncate the electoral process, particularly because we have intelligence that some people are trying to organize some militias, so trying to truncate the electoral process.
Is it around the waterways, around the riverine area, or even in the upland?
Well, I don't want to really divulge the areas where we have a resource of our threat analysis, so that we don't cause panic in the minds of people in those areas.
Also, the voters need to also know, so that they will know that you are on top of the game.
No, yeah, you see, what is important to the voters is the type of security and placement we have been able to do to reassure them that they can come out and vote without any problem.
So in essence, give us an understanding. Where are your hotspots that you have identified going into this election?
Well, you are still bringing me back to that issue of, telling you the areas we have identified to be flashpoints. Like I said, I don't want to really come up that this is the area that we have seen that there's going to be problems. It's going to cause a lot of panic, in the minds of the voters in those areas. They might not want to come out because of what we're going to say, but we are keeping that to our chest. What I can assure you is that we have in place adequately, security measures, proactively, through our intelligence gathering, to enable us deal decisively with any, or to nip at the bud any problem that may arise in those areas.
So the major worry will be the perimeters of the coming in and out.
Yeah.
And Ondo State is bordered by at least 3 states. It means that there are possibility of people who are into commerce and trade trying to move in and out, and there is a declaration of curfew from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Is that right?
That's true. No movements. We are going to restrict everybody's movements. We don't want anybody to infiltrate the state. It's part of the intelligence we've had that some people are trying to bring in thugs, hoodlums from neighboring states, Edo, Oshun, to come and cause problems there. And we are not going to allow that to happen. So we have already, we are working hard enough with the military, who are going to take care of our border, supporting our forces in those areas. So that we are not going to allow anybody to infiltrate the state to come and cause problem for us. Those areas are already well manned now.
So there are those who will say, intelligence will tell you that those who foment or perpetrate evil or foment trouble would have been on the ground before the curfew that you have set. And those who say earlier before now, there are stories and reports of those who are with arms and those who are with small and light weapons. Have you discovered those?
Well, you see, that one has been dealt with decisively by the Commissioner of Police of the Command, in conjunction with the other security agencies. They have been on this election issue for the past 2 to 3 weeks, having regular meetings. And those ones that they have seen to be hoodlums, that can cause problems within the state, some of them have been picked, interrogated, and possibly after screening them, find out that, okay, it's just mere allegations, and then they've been set free.
So they were arrested before now?
I think invitation for interrogation, not really arrest like that. Just to confirm the authenticity of the information they had, the intelligence they had about them.
I mean, the allegations against the police that you are planning to pick up opposition leaders, is it true?
It's baseless. As far as I'm concerned, nothing like that.
And you're not sure any of your junior officers is being used for such a thing?
That cannot happen.
To pick up opposition for leaders in some of these communities?
Of course, I'm in charge of the conduct of the election. I'm under my command and control. Nothing like that will happen under me without me knowing about it. And I'm assuring you that there is nothing like that at the moment.
In the case of similar things that have happened in the past, there are those who will say that looks like the modus operandi of political parties or politicians who use security agencies to intimidate opposition in the state.
We are not supposed to intimidate anybody. We are supposed to be neutral. We policists, we are neutral, and we have been professional, here. There is no reason why we have to just be used by any political party against other political party. We will not allow that to happen, because we don't belong to any political party. We are police officers, law enforcement, officers that will carry out our statutory duties without being used by anybody. Like I told you, under my command and watch, nobody can just go and pick anybody without, ascertaining or establishing any offense against that person.
So the light weapons that I was talking about, the small and light weapons that we understand have already come into Ondo State. Did you see them? Have you identified them? Have you been able to apprehend? Do you have that intelligence that some of us have?
Yes, basically before I came in, like I told you, the Commissioner of Police, in conjunction with other security agencies, have been doing that. And I think to a large extent, we have been rest assured that, nothing like that is going to happen. Of course, we are not going to give them any room to operate with any. It's a criminal offense for you to possess firearms. It's a criminal offense. So we are not going to allow anybody to use any, whether light arms or whatever arms you call it, during the election or even after the election.
So the question is that, is it true, the report that there were inflow of light and small weapons into Ondo State?
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that. And I don't think there's anything like that.
What about the issues of the militias and some of these groups, because of the oil-producing areas, areas that have known a lot of military groups and have known some of these militants in the past, and for the sake of election, they are regrouping again?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, with the intelligence we have been able to put in place, and with the activities of our marine police, in conjunction with the Navy around the maritime areas, we have not had any intelligence to that effect that militias are planning to unleash any mayhem or infiltrate the states through the waterways.
Give us an understanding about the waterways and how you hope to police it.
We have our marine police on ground, and like I told you, they are not working alone, because they work up to 12 nautical miles, and with the cooperation and the collaboration with the naval officers. They have been able to police our waterways effectively, particularly in Ondo State. We have not been having any issues from our maritime areas, that's in waterways. There is no situation report that has been given to us, reflecting that we have been having issues along our waterways.
There are about 4 to 5 local government areas that are being identified. The Ilaje, the Ondos, and KDI, one of the observer groups. I'm very sure you must have seen that report.
Identified as what?
That's hotbeds.
Well, you are still dragging me back to that issue.
Because the voters are interested
like I told
to
you.
know.
Anyway, if you are telling me, if I'm hearing that one from you, that yes, Ilaje Ondo has been identified as a very hotspot, well, if it's one of those ones that you have heard, be rest assured that adequate security measures have been put in place. We've deployed, necessary security forces that can contend with any emerging issues or emergencies in those areas.
So the question is that what should the voters be looking out for?
From the police?
For in their surroundings, if these organizations have identified 4 to 5 local government areas to look out for, what information do you think will help the voters to be able to keep them secure?
The information I want to pass to the voters is for them to be assured that their security is guaranteed. Police will definitely create an enabling environment, a very conducive atmosphere where they will have opportunity to exercise their civic responsibilities.
So give us an understanding. What are the challenges that you envisage before moving into Ondo State? Those areas that you thought that you need to tighten up security. Give us an understanding of those challenges.
Well, to be sincere, I think after carrying out a comprehensive threat analysis, we had this information that some politicians are trying to use some dogs to disrupt the electoral process. But after carrying out those threat analysis and basically through our intelligence gathering, we've been able to find out that most of these are just an alarm. I'm not saying actually that things like that may not suffice, but then we have the capability and the ability to contend with them before it happens or before it becomes manifest.
So in this election, there are critical areas that a lot of people think that the police need to rise above board. Is in the area of vote buying. Already, some civil society organizations said vote buying is already going on even before the election day. Do you have any arrangement to curb vote buying?
Yes, very well. We put in place a strategic plan to that effect. We are going to work hand in hand with the ICPC and the FCC. They are already on ground. We had meetings yesterday with all the heads of security agencies, and this issue came up, during our interaction. We had a very robust and, fantastic interaction yesterday with regards to the issue of vote buying. Through intelligence, we can easily identify any area that we envisage vote buying will take place, and I can assure you that those ones who are engaged in it will be arrested and prosecuted diligently. We are not going to take chances about it at all.
What will be different from the past election? What measures are you putting in place? Because that I think is important for our viewers.
I've told you that we have put in place some strategic plan and that will be implemented by us in collaboration with the AFCC and the ICPC to actually prevent vote buying.
How?
Actually, that.
How? What are these measures?
Well, one of the measures that I told you is putting in place strategic plans. We have our plans that I really want to, because when you say it out, then you already expose our tactics, and before you know it, people might be very wary of getting involved in it. But you see, the only thing I can assure you is that it will definitely not take place on the day of the election. I can assure you that.
So the question is, those who bring food, who are good to people at the polling unit, who just show the sheer goodness and kindness, are they, could they be in trouble for merely bringing food, drinks? Some of them even bring tents for people to stay under.
Oh, no.
But could this be seen as inducement or some form of vote buying.
Who are those people bringing food? Of course, if you look at your electoral laws, I don't think there's a need for anybody to do that. If you want to give anybody any food, let him vote, let him finish voting, and leave the environment, leave the polling environment, and go back to his house or go come and meet you wherever you want to give him food. I think that's better. But carrying food to a polling unit to give somebody to eat could be seen as an inducement to vote for a political party.
So what do you regard as vote buying?
Your guess is as good as mine. Giving money to induce somebody to vote for that political party.
How do you know that is vote buying? Because how do you know that it's been induced? If someone just gives,
why will it take place?
Things are difficult, things are hard.
Why will it take
and
place?
If you get free money,
why will it take place on the day of the election?
So
why
anybody
day of the election? Why not before the election or after the election?
How much money is too much to carry around the polling unit?
No matter the amount of money that is much, it doesn't matter. What is important is that you don't give anybody anything on that day to induce him to vote for any political party. If you want to give anybody any gift or any food, it shouldn't be during election period.
So
because election period is sacrosanct, that nothing should be seen that could sway, the electoral process.
From our own experience and monitoring our coverage of election, we do know that vote buying usually don't happen within the confines of the polling booth or the polling unit. They happen in the corners. There are those who have the list and a booklet where they have listed the names of those who will be the beneficiary, the would-be beneficiaries of the vote buying. And they are staying in the corner waiting for them to be able to do the will of the buyers. And there are those who think that they are a bit more intelligent than those who are watching them to arrest them, in the sense that they're looking above their own shoulders to ensure that they're not being caught.
Sure.
What intelligence do you have to ensure
that will not happen on the day of election? There's going to be an intensive vehicular patrol and foot patrol by our tactical units to prevent what we are trying to analyze here. I don't think there's anybody in the Chinese census that will stay around the polling unit to start giving people money to go and before they vote. Definitely, because of the dominance of the police presence, that will not happen. And anybody that is seen doing that will be picked.
Is it true that you have plainclothes officers who are intelligence officers parading around that we do not know?
Of course.
So
we have a department.
You've infiltrated everywhere with your men.
We have a department called Force Intelligence Department. They don't wear uniform. And principally, their major work is to gather intelligence for us to implement whatever they have gathered.
So they are even around our environment.
Of course.
Nobody sees them, nobody knows them. They are just there embedded.
You may not even know that maybe one of them is even around your studio here, monitoring what's going on here.
And then we need to decongest the studio so that your men will not infiltrate our studios. That's just a joke.
Yes.
But we just wanted to know how prepared, because a lot of people want to be sure that this election is free and fair. And that's the kind of assurance they would like to get.
Yeah, I want to assure the people of Ondo State that we've been able to put adequate security measures in place. Like I said earlier on, all the 18 local governments will be properly manned by a commissioner of police. Deputy commissioner of police will be assisting them. We even have a commissioner of police, will be working with them, apart from our tactical units that will be deployed to them for intensive patrol and to respond swiftly and properly to any emerging threats that may arise. We have really deployed adequate, personnel to all our nooks and crannies, and more so that we are going to embark on a serious, intensive and regular patrol to ensure that we don't allow any hoodlums to come out and cause mayhem during the election period. So everybody should feel free to go out and exercise their franchise without any molestation or harassment.
The IG said that the police will not take any nonsense.
We will not. It's a marching order. We will not.
You will be brutal.
No. We are not. We are going to work within the confines of the law.
Now,
we are not lawless. We work within the confines of the law.
Now, give us an understanding of the curfew. What you will allow and what you will not allow, because a lot of the times it seems that there are some overzealous police officers. They are mounting roadblocks, and people need to move from just their house to the polling unit. Those who will live around these roadblocks, what should we be expecting?
I know the stop and search is just to ensure that we don't allow people to infiltrate the state. That's one. Then two, we are going to enforce to the letter, restriction of movements on the day of the election. That's tomorrow. From 0600 hours. In fact, it starts from this midnight. We start trying to watch people's movements and how they move and what they do before tomorrow morning. Then from 0600 hours, there'll be complete restriction of movement of everybody, to the area of polling units.
So 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, no movement in and out of the state.
Of course, we're going to restrict movements.
Is there any problem with political leaders and actors who are already in the state? Because there are politicians who are complaining that, these political parties have their leaders, their governors. These political parties, when they did their rally, they retained their leaders in the state. And those, have you heard those kind of complaints?
I've not heard any complaint of that, to the best of my knowledge. I think, from what I've observed, the political parties have been coming to Ondo State to campaign, and some of them have been staying behind, and nobody has done anything to any one of them, because they are free to be around. But what they are not free to do is to come out on the election day and start campaigning or start inducing people to vote for them. So if anybody wants to stay, they are free to stay wherever they feel like staying. So nobody is going to pursue anybody because you don't belong to one political party or the other. It's a choice to stay.
As long as they stay indoors.
Yes.
Or they don't disrupt
on the election
process.
day. Yes.
Now, how do we identify the police officers on special duties?
We have tags that have been distributed to all police officers working in all the 3 central districts.
So we are supposed to, every officer that is to man all the 34,000 or thereabout police officers are supposed to have their tags on.
Sure.
If we find anyone without their tags, it should be regarded as a fake police officer.
No, it might not be regarded as a fake police officer, provided they have the ID cards to, identify himself.
But should they be around?
No, they're supposed to carry their tag, but you cannot rule out some people could be negligent, without bringing, carrying, which is not allowed by us, because anybody found on election day, or carried out his duty on election day without his tag, without his, the tag, will be dealt with disciplinarily. It's just for us to identify our men and to know who are not part of us, who wants to infiltrate the electoral process.
So we do know that there is usually a rule by the police that all police escorts on special duties attached to VVIPs or VIPs are supposed to stand down.
That is
that right?
It is right.
From tomorrow morning.
The Inspector General of Police has given directive to that effect, and it's going to be properly, and effectively implemented. They have to stand down, because we don't want them to be seen as being, causing intimidation against their political party, other political opponents. So they have to stand down and allow their masters free movement without being escorted to any polling unit.
KDI says Akoko Southeast, Ileoluji, Okeigbo, Ilaje, and Eseodo, Idanre local government areas of Ondo State are possible flashpoint areas, and which raises security concern for this election based on what has happened in the past, history of those areas, and some of the recent activities in these areas. Are you particularly deploying more men and more soldiers, more officers to these places?
I want to remind you again that we have carried out a comprehensive threat analysis. And I want to thank you for giving that information to me. I will go back home and look at those areas. If there are those areas that fall within the areas that we have seen as, areas that we need to take care of, then I'll do that.
They are also bothered about the post-election security. Are you ready for that? Have you prepared for that?
Very, very prepared.
The days after the election.
We have put in place our contingency strategic post-election plan that will, promptly react to any emerging issues after the result has been announced. And part of those things is for us to place our tactical units of standby to respond swiftly, then adequate deployment of our police officers to police or to effectively cover our police formation, that's barracks, police stations. Because definitely when people see, from experience, empirically, when anybody reacts to any result that does not favor them, one of the people that always face attacks are the police officers. So we are not taking anything for granted. We have a contingency plan to really deal with the post-election results.
Where are they? I mean, what are your worries, or what are your estimation in terms of post-election violence?
I'm not really seeing, to be sincere, I'm not really thinking that there's going to be any violence in Ondo State, because definitely my belief is that by the grace of God, the election will be very transparent, it will be free and fair, because all the political parties have their polling agents in all the polling units. All the collation centers will be well fortified, and adequate security will be in place to reassure people that nothing will tamper with the result of the election. And by the time the election results are announced and it seems to be transparent and credible, I don't think that there's going to be any reaction, from anybody.
Finally, before we allow you go, DIG, there's a whole lot of apprehension, especially from what we saw in Edo, the agitation from opposition, what happens in the coalition, which is one of the soft spots of election, it's because it's getting dark, and those who are worried that coalition aspect of the election is very critical. Are you looking at that? Are you making special plans for it?
For any event that happens and there are lapses, it's a learning curve for whoever must have gotten involved. So if there are lapses in what happened in Edo State, I think that must have given us an insight on what to do and do better than what we did in Edo State. Definitely, one of my strategic plans is to heavily fortify the collation centers.
DIG, what kind of assurance are you giving Nigerians, especially Ondo State people, that this election will be different? And can we hold you accountable? And can we hold your words to it tonight? That what DIG Alabi is telling us tonight, we can go to bed with our two eyes closed, waking up tomorrow morning and saying that police in Nigeria will be of the best behaviors and the best conduct for tomorrow's election.
Yes, Chill, I want to really assure Nigerians, without sounding modest, particularly people who have been following my career trajectory, they know what I always stand for. I want to assure Nigerians, particularly Ondo State people, that the election of tomorrow will be transparent. Police will be very, very professional. We are going to be neutral. We are not going to take side, because we are not supposed to do that. And we'll ensure that things are done properly the way they're supposed to be done.
We're counting on your words, and we'll be holding you to your words. Is there any final words you would like to share with us before you go?
Well, just to thank you for bringing me to this program, and for me to be able to tell Nigerians, and particularly those people, that under my command and watch, they should expect a very, very transparent, peaceful, and free and fair election tomorrow.
DIG Abiodun, right?
Yes.
Abiodun Alabi, thank you so much. He's the DIG coordinating election security, and we do know that you have support also from NSCDC,
yes,
the CC, and other security agencies. Yes. Are they cooperating?
Fantastic. They are very, very cooperative, because, like the IG said, at the national level, there's a robust and healthy relationship between him and the other service chiefs and the heads of security agencies, and that has cascaded down to both the state and the zonal commands. And in this state in particular, since I came on board, I've seen that happening here, that the communal police and other heads of security agencies are having a very fantastic, robust relationship.
So your job with the military and the police and the military is different. They man the perimeters, you take charge of internal.
Sure.
That is the idea,
yes,
for tomorrow's election.
Yes.
Thank you so much, GIG. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I wish you and your men the very best.
Thank you very much.